Wait, you're not right, bro.
Yeah. Okay. All right. This is my Berghain story, so we can like Instagram clip this. So this is how you get into Berghain.
What is Berghain?
Berghain, it's like the hardest club in like the world to get into. Like Britney Spears, like Paris Hilton, they've all been rejected. It's like a hardcore techno club, but it's also like a place where people are like openly like having sex and doing drugs and everything. So it's really hard. There's like literally naked women walking around and everything. So they literally have to door check you really hard. And there's also like mazes and all sorts of places where like all sorts of crazy like assaults and everything can occur. So they really need to make sure you're legit at the door.
Is this sex mazes that you're talking about?
Yeah, they have sex mazes, like all sorts of crazy shit. Yeah. Yeah. So
wait, hold on, wait. So I just want to.
Yeah.
Slow down. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you explain to me what a sex maze is?
A sex maze is? It's a dark room with a bunch of like kind of like cubicle looking things and like glory holes and like places to fuck people and sex swings, chains, some red lights. It looks very spooky. It looks like a goddamn haunted house. And then you like go in there and you kind of feel around until you can fuck something.
Ooh, feel around until you can.
Yeah, and they have like different. They have like different permutations of what this was like there. But the crazy thing about it is that the thing they don't tell you is the thing they don't tell you. The only reason Berghain is so shocking to straight people is because like they essentially have the layout of a gay club, and like gay steam like kind of like saunas, bathhouses have had sex mazes, sex swings, glory holes, cubby rooms, like full nudity. They've been doing that shit for the last 40 years. So when you go in as a straight person, it's like, oh, it's the craziest club I've ever been into. But like from a gay perspective, it's like, yo, this is where
this is Saturday. Starts. This is where every single.
When I was in there, a lot of the gay guys were telling me like, yo, this is like, they're like, you think this is crazy, man? They're like, what? They're like, you need to go to like, there are bigger, crazier, gay bathhouses in the world that are way more insane than this. You might have like 1,000 people having sex, like literally 1,000 active people with their dicks out having sex. It's crazy, yeah. So okay, here's the trick to get into Berghain. Okay, I watched the door process for 45 minutes. You have to do one of two things. You either have to look gay, or you have to look like really BDSM, like, you know, and not just like dress cool, but you have to look like you're kind of like really, really about it. Like, you know, you have to look like you're really participating. They don't want the more normal you look, the less of a chance you'll have to get in.
Is this a gay bar?
It's mostly gay because it was also during Pride, so I don't know, but like it's actually not a gay club. It's a club that a lot of gay people will go to. But it's set up like a gay club in the sense where like they have all the things like a gay bathroom.
Yo, was that your weed?
No, that's my weed. Just have to smoke whatever. Just have to smoke whatever.
Actually, I'm gonna pick up some more weed tonight. Oh, and they're gonna be fucking close though.
Just smoke whatever, man.
Yeah.
Just burn it. Yeah. Yeah, so we'll get into it. Yeah, so you get to the door, the regular bouncer who's like the legendary bouncer who like picks people out, he's like looks really scary. He wasn't even there that day. It was like some young like German guy with a nice haircut. He looked really normal. And then he wasn't even like asking us questions in German or quizzing us who the DJs were like they normally do. He was just doing this, left, right, and he was just like he was just walking people left and right, and I saw him do for 45 minutes just to figure out their door process, and one of their huge German security came over and he's like, get the fuck out of here, man, what the fuck are you doing? He gave me this look where he's like, get the fuck out of here right now, bro. He's like, you cannot watch our door process. They search you, you go inside, you put your clothes up, and then once you get inside, it's just like absolutely beautiful Stalinist architecture building. It has multiple floors, they have an ice cream bar.
Wait.
Yeah.
So many things you see, you just casually say that.
Yeah.
Beautiful Stalinist architecture.
Stalinist architecture, like communist Germany architecture.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just glossed over that.
Yeah.
Real quick.
It was such a crazy experience. It was so much. So,
I've never heard beautiful Stalinist.
It was incredible. Well, it's in East Germany, right? That's the history of Berlin, right? So,
yeah.
So the bathrooms are like I looked up the design firm that did the bathrooms, but they look incredible. They're all metal and like panorama bars. There's enormous windows, and they have chains hanging from the ceiling. And then the main room is just like this giant like Function One sound system. And then at 6 in the morning they open up the basement, which is essentially a giant sex dungeon called the laboratory. And then there's also an ice cream bar. And then like on the ground floor there's a bunch of like sex mazes that you can kind of like crawl through and stuff like that. And some of them are so pitch black, I was actually scared I'm gonna like knock someone's dick by walking through them. So it was actually quite intimidating to walk through some of them because they were so like dark. And then they have places where you can hang out. And then they have like a backyard area I couldn't get into because I didn't stay late enough. I didn't stay till like 10 in the morning.
Backyard, wow.
Yeah, they have like a full-on like garden area that you can go to. And then so I was there for about 8 hours. And they in Berlin.
I think about it.
Yeah, it's headed down. Yeah, in Berlin they sell cigarettes out of vending machines and there's no last call, so people are drinking and smoking the entire night. There's a good amount of open drug use going on there. Women are walking around butt naked in sneakers. People are having sex on sex swings. There's like paper towels and like Windex everywhere to wipe the place down after. And then this is a bunch of dark rooms where like guys are just like fighting each other, and it was just like, yeah, it was pretty wild. So I got in about 8 hours, but most people when they go up the first time stay in for about 35 hours. But that's pretty much how you get in, and that's why it's one of the craziest clubs ever. Can I think of anything else in that story?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, here's one thing. So when you go to one of the bars, it's almost like a shrine to like gay orgies or something. Because like you look at this bar, it's this beautiful amber glass ring that goes around the bar. Then you look closer at it, you're like, what the fuck is this? And it's just like a human centipede of like 20 guys like fucking each other in the ass and sucking each other's dicks and like jerking each other off. And the facial expressions were like carved into their faces of this absolute ecstasy and like this gay orgy like ring of like amber glass that went around. I'm like, man, who the fuck made this? Is like a beautiful piece of art, but who made this? And then I started looking this up. I'm like, because Germany was part of like Rome at one point in time, and like I think it actually just goes back to like the whole Roman gay orgy thing. And I think they've been keeping that tradition alive in the underground for like 2,000, 3,000 years or something.
Just keeping it strong.
Yeah. That's the Berghain story. Anyone else want to tell a story?
Yeah, I don't know.
Wow, yeah.
I like cuddling after sex, so I'm not sure if that's exactly.
You can cuddle there. You can sleep there if you want. You have showers.
With women. With women, actually.
Oh yeah. So one of my friends told me that there was a scat room in the basement, and he saw dudes in hazmat suits carrying around turds inside Tupperware containers, frozen. So I actually looked for the scat room, and like I couldn't. There's probably other parts of the building you can get into, but like the scat room, I'm pretty sure that was a scat room. I went down to the ground floor. I went past the maze and the glory holes, and then in the basement, there's just like this tile room, and it's probably either for douching or whatever. But it smelled pretty bad, and I'm like, that's probably the scat room because like the whole room is just, it looks like a tile room, and it's not a sauna. It's just and there's just a bunch of hoses everywhere, and I'm like, this is definitely the scat room. So afterwards, I went on YouTube and I looked up where else in the world has this type of shit, because like I'm just like, they're saying that this is pretty common. So Toronto, people are like, oh, we don't have this shit in Canada. We do. So Toronto has Steamworks, which is like Steamworks in Toronto has a maze in it, glory holes. They have glory holes on ramps, so you can stand and do it. They have multiple rooms. Steamworks in Toronto apparently is a pretty accomplished one. We have a pretty big gay scene here. We also have always a sex club. Yeah.
Why would you need a ramp?
A ramp so you can stand while you're like giving dudes like BJs on the glory hole ramp. So you don't have to kneel, because the glory hole's just big on the floor. So they have like they have a ramp, and it actually goes by height, depending on the dude's height and everything like that. It's ridiculous. It's like a graded ramp that goes up. And then we have Oasis Sex Club, which has a rooftop pool. Upper floor is for couples only, and then the downstairs is for like, I guess, the dudes who don't have girls.
Yeah, all I know is Oasis. I knew this is like.
Have you been to Oasis before?
I was gonna take a girl to Oasis once, but she cried before, right?
Fair enough.
She cried before going. Yes. That's a good.
I was like, nah, we're.
That's as good a reason as any not to go.
Yeah.
That's a good nervous system fucking reaction.
Yeah.